There's a trick so simple to thrive even in the hardest challenges that you probably won't believe me when I tell you. It has been the bedrock of some of the world's most successful people, in business, in sports, and even in the stories we watch.
Call it a day. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Is that all?
You're a non-believer. Why should we waste time on kabuki?
Still around? So you do have some faith. Let's check out why power posing can literally change your life. Welcome to my little video series. I'm Ruben, pro MMA fighter turned leadership coach, and I'm gonna share with you a few of my insights from my own coaching program, and I hope you get a lot of value from it. If I learned one thing over the years as a fighter, is that the only way to gain confidence is really to do exactly what you're afraid of. And similar to a fighter that's going into the cage, you probably also have some very big challenges coming up for yourself, and you need to prepare yourself for that in a similar way. And whether that's leading your business to new heights or leading yourself and the people you care for towards personal goals, it really doesn't matter. Your mind will really always tell you to run away if you haven't changed your physiology. And many leaders that I coach, they tried to trick their mind when they get nervous before working with me. And let's say an important meeting is coming up, so the pressure is on. And they go the logical route. So they look over their notes one more time, they convince themselves of their proposal or arguments, and then it all breaks down when they have to speak up and they choke. And why does that happen? In sports psychology, we have a term for that, and that's the threat state. That's interpreting the nerves that are completely normal and that everyone has. The adrenaline that's coming in, interpreting that as something bad and as something that's holding you back rather than helping you succeed. And in the world of business, this threat state is largely completely ignored. And most people don't really think as their body and their mind being interconnected in every way possible. So let's say you have your body and you have your mind, and you have two separate entities that you're thinking with. And let's say this is your body and it affects your mind in a certain way. So you think of your body as giving you the most fundamental ways possible to go to work, stay awake, and do your job. But the problem is that this will always fail, because if we don't change our physiology first, as I said, we cannot talk our physiology into backing us up when it really comes down to performing in high pressure situations. So what it really is, it's two sides of the same coin, nothing else. Your body and your mind are one and the same thing. Your body doesn't affect your mind. Your body is your mind. Your thoughts, your emotions are your physiology, are your neural networks, are everything that's going on in your cells, in your breath, and in your heart rate. So what's going on with your body in a meeting, choking and not getting a word out, for example. At that moment, if you'd put yourself under a brain scan or an fMRI, it would show in every detail in your brain activation, in your amygdala, so in your brain stem, it would be completely flooded with cortisol, and your muscles would be tense, and you'd have an elevated resting heart rate, and even in your shallow breath, it would show. So why not just start there? Why not start right there where it all happens, and not in what we feel afterwards, in the qualia, in the emotion that comes out of it? If we stick with the outcome, we're never going to change the root cause. And the root cause is your physiology. So why try to convince yourself that you're not in a threat state if your body knows better? Before going into a fight, I also have to enter into this strong physiological state, into that challenge mode, how we call it in sports psychology. And what do I do to enter that state? I change my physiology first, and I do that by putting my shoulders back, my chest out, and I smile. And not because I feel like it, because I can tell you one thing, before going into a fight like that, I'm scared to bits, and I'd way rather run away than go into that cage. But I know that by changing my physiology, my emotions will follow. And that's the only reason why I do this, because I know it works, and it's not a cause and effect thing. It is one and the same thing. Changing your physiology changes your mind, changes your emotion, and changes your perception of what you're capable of. It's all about how to control your physiology and make you get into that challenge state. And by that, you empower yourself. So the real question is, how can you control your physiology to perform under pressure and not your mind? And don't think I neglect the psychology here. I've studied psychology myself, researched for years under the British Psychological Society, and I applied a lot of psychological methods to my fighting game. But in the end, it always came down to how much can I convince my body of what I want to be feeling. And the emotions would follow as a consequence. So let's actually start out with a first lesson for you that enables you to get a little bit of that feeling, of that embodiment, and lets you feel a little bit of the power that your body has over your mind. So this Harvard study from 2012 tested two groups, one using a high power expansive pose, and the other group used slouchy poses in preparation for an interview situation. And what they found was that the high power posers, in contrast to the low power posers, appeared to better maintain their composure, project more confidence, and present more captivating and enthusiastic speeches. And in return, that led to a higher overall performance in an evaluation of this interview process that they went through. Let's start imitating this experiment and see what it does to you, what this embodiment, this power embodiment does to your mindset. So set your mind for a challenge that's coming up for you this week. Maybe it's a board meeting, maybe it's a proposal, maybe it's finishing a project before the deadline is up, and maybe it's just being there for someone you care about. It really doesn't matter. So let's take a look at this study. There's 1 minute going on where we just sit in a really expansive position. So we just put our shoulders back, put our chest out, and we just sit there for 1 minute and just let it sit with us. What's happening to our emotions? And really over exaggerate. It really doesn't matter if you just do it like slightly. You have to think of yourself a bit like a gorilla. Sit like this for 1 minute. So we're basically doing the exact same thing that the participants in the experiment did. And the next task they had was to do the same movement 1 minute in a standing position and really expand on that stand. And just stand like this for 1 minute. And the last part is probably the most important part that you can make use of the most. Pick that challenge that's coming up for you this week, whatever it might be, whether it's being there for your child on that football game, or whether it's putting in that proposal, shining in that meeting, whatever it is, use the same method that they used in the experiment and stand up and just practice the exact same situation that you have to shine in with that over-exaggerated, super expansive posture. And you're going to basically do the exact same thing that they did in the experiment in that Harvard study. They found absolutely significant results, and it would be a wonder if you wouldn't feel the same for you. I felt it every time I stepped into the cage. Just look at Conor McGregor, how he does it. He even expands himself more and more, and that's probably one of the reasons why he's so successful. So the bigger the challenge, the more posing is needed, and have fun trying it out. If you liked this video and the insights, I'd appreciate if you hit the like button and stay tuned for more insights in regards to training methods, how you can really get the best out of your body to be a better leader. And it's gonna be revolving around breath work, muscle training, embodiment. How can you carry yourself with confidence and project this, radiate this outwards? See you soon.